Hey, are you constantly flipping through the news channel or scrolling through the headlines, trying to decipher the state of the Denver real estate market? You're wondering, is it the right time to buy a home? Is it the right time to sell a home? Well, you're not alone. And today, we're going to clear up the confusion and provide you with some insights that you need to make great moving decisions for you and your family. Based upon what you're hearing in the news or reading in the paper about home prices, you may be worried that they're falling. But here's the thing, the headlines aren't giving you the full picture. If you look at the national data for 2023, home prices showed positive growth for the year. And here in the Denver metro area, home prices from September through November appreciated 1% per month year over year. Now, December stayed flat with a median home value of $550,000, which was the same as the home value of December 2022. And I get it. When we're looking at the numbers and we see the median home price of a home in September was $580,000, and in October, the median price was $575,000, and in November, the median price was $565,000, and in December, wow, it dropped to $550,000. So of course the news picked up on this. Headlines are going to call to attention all the small month-to-month dips instead of the bigger year-long picture. And that can be a bit misleading because it's only focused on one part of the whole story. But you must realize that real estate has its seasons, much like nature. Spring brings the peak buying season with a strong market that often extends into our summer. And by the year's end, things start to slow down, which is perfectly normal. This is a predictable cycle and it influences prices, driving them up when demand is high. Also, there were two data points that the news didn't take into account. One was that during September through November, those prices were up almost 1% year over year each month, even though it looked like they trended downward. And secondly, the inventory of homes for sale was actually declining throughout the fall, from a high of about 10 weeks in September down to slightly under 8 weeks by December. What does this mean? Well, now finally our market is a more normal seasonal market, unlike the unicorn years of the pandemic. We have a hot spring selling market and a good summer selling season, but then as fall hits and the holidays come and the weather changes, things start to slow down, and you see it in these numbers. And then add to this news that in January of 2024, we see home prices shooting right back up. The median price in January was $564,990. That number, by the way, was up 5.6% compared to the $535,000 median selling price back in January of 2023. So we know the news likes to scream doom and gloom, but we can see from the numbers that home prices are appreciating, not depreciating. And here locally, just like nationally, they're following a seasonal trend where there's a slowing of the market during the holidays and then an uptick both in activity and value once the holidays are over. New listings doubled from December and were up 17.1% from last year. But don't get too excited or worried, as new listings last month were down a whopping 32% from January of 2020. Pendings were up 4.6% from last January, and that's the highest number of pendings we've had since last August, which is a great sign for our Denver real estate market. The average sold price is up over 6% since last January, and the median sold price is up 5.6% from last year. And it's really interesting to see these median and average prices nearly the same. This is a great sign that price increases are widespread. And as we look at supply and demand, we went from a high of 2.5 months supply of homes for sale in September to a 2-month supply of homes for sale in December. And now in January, we're back up at almost 2.5 months supply again. That is definitely putting us in a seller's market. Because remember, anything between under 5 to 7 months supply of homes for sale is going to be a seller's market. And currently, here as I look at these numbers for January, this is also very good for buyers because now buyers still have a bit more to choose from. Rates are hovering around mid to low 6s, so it's a good time to make your move, no pun intended, before the hot spring season starts because realistically, it's right around the corner. And in case you're worrying about house prices declining, maybe you heard the news article that was based on Realtor.com's 2024 national housing forecast, where they predicted that home prices in Denver were expected to drop about 5.1% this year. I know the news media picked that up, but here's the reality check. It's most likely not going to happen. After all, we just saw January's numbers come in where home prices were up 5.6% year over year, and that was with an average interest rate of about 6.8% for the month. We have to go back to supply and demand. Homeowners are sitting in a very good spot right now. They have a lot of equity in their homes, and a large percentage of them are sitting on interest rates that are under 5%, which allows for a very manageable house payment. And here the golden handcuffs that you've heard mentioned before are coming into play, keeping homeowners from making a move, leading to low inventory and upward pressure on home prices. And for those of you that have been following me, thank you, by the way. I want you to know that even though Powell was talking about lowering the rates, that might not be coming as soon as we were thinking because of what's been going on with the economy. Remember at the end of 2023, we were so ready to move into 2024. Everyone was giving their predictions. Remember in one of my videos, I talked about how Powell was talking about reducing the rate 3 times throughout 2024. And that kind of talk had my lenders enjoying an increase in mortgage purchase applications and an increase in housing inventory, showing us that both buyers and sellers were eager to get into the real estate market in 2024. Add to that the economy is not showing any signs of slowing down. Nicole Ruth of the Ruth team, powered by Movement Mortgage, reports that not only are homeowners feeling strong right now because of their low interest rates, she also reports that since homeowners have these low interest rates, they have the ability to continue to spend. And this is reflected in the core retail sales, which were a record high in 2023. Consumer spending was strong. Personal income continues to grow, which leads her to believe that consumers aren't done shopping. Based upon the most recent jobs reports, we saw income rise as high as 4.5%, and inflation continues to go down. And if real income remains strong, we're going to wonder if Powell's going to lower the interest rate. In his most recent interview with 60 Minutes, Powell said that basically he had 2 directives. One is to control inflation, and 2 is to make sure that everyone who wants a job has one. And although he admitted that interest rates are high because the economy is doing well, and that it makes it expensive for home buyers to get into real estate, he said basically that wasn't his concern. He wants to make sure that we see a strong economy, a consistent 2% inflation, which we have seen recently, but he's now saying he'd like to see it stay that way for about 12 months. And he's concerned that any sudden change would derail the economy and cause inflation to go back up. And although we've seen some softening in the labor market, and it isn't as tight as it once was, it's still very strong. And that's why we didn't see a change in the rates at the January 30 meeting, and now there's talk that there might not be any change in the rates at the March 20th meeting of the Fed. What does this mean if you're a buyer right now? Well, now would be a good time to buy because rates are really hovering around that mid-6 number, and inventory recently went up, giving you more choices. And we're still in winter, so you won't have the competition of the hot spring market. If you wait until spring or summer, thinking maybe that the rates will drop, well, you may end up with a lot more competition than you would be facing right now as a buyer. And if you're thinking of selling this year, well, you have some decisions to make. Do you put your home on the market now while it's still winter? We know buyers are out there and the rates are good, and without a lot of competition from the spring market and an increase in value, man, you could see your home go under contract very quickly, allowing you to move forward with your plans. On the flip side, you could also wait until the spring market hits. Although you might have more competition with other homes on the market, we know that usually this is the highest and busiest buying time for us here in Colorado, and that may lead to multiple offers or a higher selling price. The big question when we try to forecast, as we've seen, is we really don't know what the Fed will end up doing. Rates could stay the same. They could go down. They could go up. We really don't know, as Powell tries to maintain his 2% inflation rate. What are your thoughts? I'd love to read them. Put them in the comments down below. Hi, my name is Peggy Dursthoff. I'm a realtor at Live Denver Suburbs, powered by HomeSmart. And if you enjoyed this video and you're thinking that a move might be in your future, check out this video over here where I talk about how to declutter your space, because we know it's a great way to display your home's potential. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.